Visually incredible.
You see all these places, it's alive.
The Bible just coming alive all over.
You should be in Jerusalem sometime in your lifetime.
If you're Jewish, if you're a Christian, and it's important to you to know your faith, you can't do better than go to where it was born.
Tell everyone to put it on their bucket list.
I heard about the trip from Warren Nash.
Warren Nash.
Warren Nash.
He spoke at Sunday school.
Sunday school class.
He actually sent out an email to some people that he thought might be interested.
He sent some information around for us to look at.
He did not send it to me, and I thought, well, you know, I might be interested in this.
He said, I think we ought to go. I said, I'm going.
The trip we took in late May and early June was a 13-day pilgrimage. We purposely intended to walk in Jesus' footsteps through his early ministry in the Galilee, his baptism in the Jordan River, and ultimately his final week in Jerusalem.
After months of personal study and group study and anticipation of being on that trip, I thought, oh, I'm finally in the land where Jesus lived and walked.
On the way to our hotel, we stopped and walked up a pretty steep hill and to the plain of Sharon, and that's where it all started for us, our journey, and things just got better from there.
I was just amazed that the roads that he walked are still there. The old Roman roads, and they're still there. And so when you walk to, when you see the Roman road to Bethsaida, which is where he would stay outside of Jerusalem, that road's still there. So that's how he walked into town. And the road to Emmaus is still there.
We spent a good bit of time, several days, around the Sea of Galilee in Capernaum, and we went where he gave the Sermon on the Mount, and it was just, you just felt so close to him. It was just unbelievable.
One of the first days we were there, we actually took a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee.
It was sort of an old-looking boat that was appropriate for where we were.
Going out in the boat, that was probably a highlight, I guess, and it kind of lived up to my best imagination of what it would be like.
You're on this boat late in the afternoon. You're in the location where Jesus was.
Just to be out on the Sea of Galilee was an experience in itself, knowing that Jesus had walked on that water, and here we are on a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee.
They turned the motor off, and the breeze was just there.
And you're not only feeling the sun hitting you on the face that he felt, and the wind blowing on your face that he felt.
And I think that we could really have the feeling that Jesus had been there.
We literally stood along the shore where Jesus basically forgave Peter or accepted Peter back after Jesus was resurrected.
And then what got me was when I looked over and I saw this mountaintop, and it was a ridge we later found out was a very prominent ridge in the area. But when I saw that, I said, that mountain right there is the same view that Jesus saw.
To be able to see our group, to see the looks on their faces, I had looked forward to that.
One of the special moments was going into one of the churches on the Via Dolorosa.
We were at St. Anne's Church. P.S. Anne is Mary's mother. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
And Warren had said, you know, this might be an opportunity for us to sing. And when we got inside, we didn't have that opportunity because it was so full.
An African choir was in the church and started singing Hallelujah.
And it was just one of those moments that you couldn't have planned. You know, it just kind of washed over us and was precious.
And that was so cool. Love that. Loved every minute that we just had spontaneous music, and we didn't have that much of it, but I won't forget any of the spontaneous music.
You know, I was walking on the streets where Jesus walked.
I've been there, and I feel a closer walk with Christ. I feel closer to Him, having been at the same place He was.
I'll never read the scriptures without envisioning where they were written or where Jesus was standing when He said these things.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. I mean, you read the text now with a whole new set of eyes and understanding, and just opens a whole new window into the meaning of it.
Just being in that place and walking where these things took place gives you a visual image.
Understanding a little bit more about the land has made the Bible seem so much more real.
It's remarkably beautiful. Beyond your imagining, really. And then the cities are also diverse. But it's the coming together of so many people and ideas. How wonderful is that?
It has given my faith a new dimension. I had a strong faith before I went. I knew the Bible stories, but now to open up my Bible and to have lived them, to seen them, to walk them, it's three-dimensional now. It was always two-dimensional.
Every time I read a scripture and see a familiar name, I'm back. I'm there.
I think it's real important for people who think about Israel as being the place where Jesus walked, the place where Moses, where David, where all of these amazing figures who are so central to Judaism and Christianity. It's also where accountants, doctors, lawyers, kids go to school, they go to daycare. It's a modern country that has literally risen out of the ashes.
If you want to know more about the history of the world and where you came from, if you want to put your toes in civilizations that are, 8,000 years old, it just gets to the center of who we are as people.
Being in Israel was my first step in accepting what I needed to be doing with my life. And I'm going to cry talking about it. Being there in the dirt and with people, and it's hard in Israel to walk around without bumping into somebody, especially in Jerusalem. And coming to the realization that in my life back in America, my job was to bump into people and to get my hands dirty and to do what I needed to do to bring God's presence and God's love and God's kingdom.
I would like to say a thank you to all of the people that went together to get this trip together.
We had a special group of people too on the trip. And I think that made it, everybody was we had a very camaraderie, and everybody bonded, and that made it extra special.
Like Warren said, he said the group was picked by God.
There are 4 components to a great trip. You have to have a great destination. Anyone who calls him or herself a Christian should make the opportunity to put your feet on that ground. The second thing you have to have is you have to have a great guide, and we did in the form of Brian Kvasnicka. He was fantastic, and now he's in the hearts of 43 other people who went on this trip. You have to have a great group of people. The combination of personalities and characters and age levels of the folks that went were unpredictable to me, but they meshed so well that I could not have put together a better group. And finally, the trip needs to be blessed. I thought about this after we got home. Every single flight was on time. Every single bag was where it was supposed to be, in every city that it was supposed to be in. Nobody got sick to speak of. Nobody got hurt to speak of. There was not a single cross word, not a single complaint all along the trip. And it just, as I reflected on that and I thought about all things that might have gone wrong and being kind of responsible for that, you know, it seemed to me that we were blessed.
I had decided, even if something happened worldwide that would prevent us from going, that it had been worth it just to join the group.
The worth is just not something I can express in words, and it's not something you can count. It's a whole different accounting system that God has.
A little closer to where I would someday like to be.
It's pretty amazing.
Been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun.
Alhamdulillah. And it means in English, thanks be to God. And when I think about our trip and the opportunity that I had, I feel that way, thanks be to God.
Is something that, you know, I'll never forget.